Ding, ding, ding. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. My heart's beating, and this is gonna be an intense episode. Just kidding. It's my story. Yes, I'm the very special guest for today. I'm gonna be talking about my coming out story to my parents. So, buckle your seatbelts, cause it's gonna be juicy. But before you do that, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you know when we upload a new video every single week. Got that? Great. Let's dive in. I wonder if you can hear all those pelicans outside. They're going crazy. Where do we start? Fix my little headpiece. So, a little backstory. Both of my siblings are also queer. One big queer happy family. I'm not here to tell their story. They're gonna both be coming on here soon, hopefully. Kyle, Georgia, I'm talking to you and tell their own story. But I just need to give a little bit of content so you can understand part of my story. Okay? Kyle was visibly queer growing up, so he got super bullied and teased in Barbados, period. Not saying anymore. My sister was the first one to actually come out publicly. She's 5 years younger than me, and at 16, she came out. With the two of them being somewhere openly queer, and my parents knowing about it, my parents used to speak to me about them all the time on the phone, especially after my sister came out. They would say things like, oh, I think Georgia's going through a phase, and I'm worried about how they're going to be treated in Barbados, because we knew how homophobic Barbados was because of how Kyle was treated, and how the rest of the world is going to treat you. Things parents of queer kids usually worry about, or any parent, because of how people were treated or still are treated for being gay, or on the spectrum, or LGBTQ. So I got a lot of that, and plus, like, I was the only straight one at the time. I dated a lot of girls in the past, and people always ask me, were those genuine relationships, or were they to cover up your sexuality? Honestly, they were genuine. I loved everybody that I dated, and I had such an amazing connection with them, both mentally and physically. So yeah, it was completely genuine. I loved them. All the feelings that I feel now with a partner, I had those feelings towards women. Anyways, to set that bar straight, it is no, I was not covering up my sexuality with that. Maybe part of me was, but there was genuine love there too. Moving on. So my parents had that foundation of just me always dating girls, and there was a lot of pressure because my other two siblings were queer. I felt a lot of pressure to be straight because of society, maybe not so much because of my parents. They never said I needed to be straight, but I knew it was always there. That is the back story. So fast forward. Oh, you wanna see Mr. Come here, come. Oh, and this is Mr. Weenie, say hello. You don't wanna be in my arms right now? Come on, say hello. Say hi. Okay, go. Vamos. Ah! I shouldn't have done that. He's so furry. So this was the first guy that I started dating soon after I started to come to terms with my sexuality and started coming out to my friends. It was like the first serious relationship. And like 4 to 6 months in, we started getting in a lot of big arguments on, why don't your parents know about me? Why doesn't your family know about me? Do you not like me enough to tell them? And like all this stuff that was pretty manipulative, but it was about him not getting to know my parents. I don't blame him because I have the best parents in the world, so obviously he wanted to meet them, but I just was not ready to come out. There was so much for me to break down, digest, confidence to create in my body that I just wasn't ready. So we continuously got in these fights. First of all, back in the day, I used to be a big people pleaser and I hated to fight. I eventually just broke, and a way for him to get off my back, I thought, was, all right, I'm gonna come out to my brother and you can meet a part of my family that I feel comfortable coming out with. Did I really? Not really, but I did it anyways. So I called my brother and I was like, hey, I have something to tell you. And he's like, what? And if any of you know Kyle, you know that this is the perfect answer he could have ever given. So I was like, well, I just want to let you know I'm dating a guy. And he's like, what? Why? Why do you always have to copy me? And I literally just took it. I just took it. Now, context of why, when we were growing up, I always used to be like super big, super bold, and like attention seeking. And whatever he used to do, I used to copy him. Whatever he used to do, I used to also do. But he didn't really know that I idealized him, so I obviously wanted to do whatever he was doing. Shout out to you, Kyle. He ended up telling me things like, you know, mom and dad are gonna be so shocked. They really thought that you were the last hope of someone being straight in the family. I don't know how they're gonna take it. I don't think they're gonna take it very well. So that conversation wasn't very confidence boosting in that area, but for the most part, I introduced my partner at the time to my brother and it got a lot of the fighting off of my back. Did I think so? Did it? No. Did we continue to fight? Yes. Were the fights getting worse? 100%. He still was saying things like, why haven't I met your parents yet? You come out to so many people. All these people know. Why can't I meet your parents? 'Cause I don't want you to, is what I was thinking in my head, but I couldn't say it. Should have just broke up with him. So we continued to fight and I was like, fine, I will come out to my parents. Now, was I ready? Absolutely not. Why? I just felt so much pressure from society to not disappoint them. I felt like I needed to overcome that on my own terms in order to come out to them, which I hadn't done yet. But did I do it? 100% I did. So my mom is in charge of our family. She's very opinionated. She's so amazing, but she's in charge. I thought to myself, instead of doing them both at the same time, I don't know why I just didn't. I was like, I will tackle mom first because she's the hard one. So I'll grab the bull by its horns. And that's exactly what I did. I'm going into this conversation like mad at my partner because he's making me come out to my, and ideally, like, this is my mind state at the time. No one can make you do anything, but there was pressure on me to come out to my parents within my relationship. So I was mad at my partner. I was ready, frazzled because I had to do this, and I'm an emotional kitty, okay? I cry at everything. Literally, Frozen 2, just to name one, I cry. So I'm like, hey mom, we need to talk. She's like, okay, call me whenever. I give her a call. Hi Finn, how are you? Instantly. And I'm like such a emotion. I'm like such an ugly crier. So you get contact. So context, I think it's context. Whatever. So I'm crying and my mom is like, why are you crying? Are you sick? Are you okay? And I'm like, Mom, I'm so sorry to disappoint you. I'm dating a guy. I'm so sorry, but I'm happy and I want you to be happy for me, but I'm really sorry that I've disappointed you and Dad. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like crying and rambling and just saying everything. Really? I was in a mojo. The cat! So I'm crying and I'm saying everything under the sun so she can't react because I'm scared for what's coming. She goes, why are you crying? And I go, well, why are you crying? And she goes, I'm just shocked. You've always dated girls. You've always had crushes on girls, relationships with girls. When did this start? When did you start feeling like this? And I'm not disappointed. I'm just shocked. With you three, I'm just so worried about how people are going to be treated you. You know that's going to be a harder life for you. I really thought you were my last hope at having grandkids. It was everything I predicted the conversation to be. You know, I said to her, I was like, you know, I haven't changed. Nothing about who you've raised and who you've loved so far in life has changed. I'm still the Finley that I am. I still do like girls, but I like guys too. I came out as bisexual. I know it's gonna take you some time to get used to, and I couldn't imagine what you're experiencing going through having 3 queer kids, but this is the reality. So we kind of just continued back and forth for a bit. The conversation was quite short, and then she finished it with, "You're telling your dad." I was like, okay. Now, I just had such an emotional, draining conversation with her where I was crying, she was crying, so many feelings, a piece of weight lifted off my shoulder, but still kind of like upset about having to do it. It wasn't on my own terms. And I wasn't about to get into a conversation with my dad and have another whole moment. So I just went silent. And so did my parents. Like, both of them just went silent. And in my mind, I was praying that my mom told my dad. 3 days later, I get a call from Daddy-O, you know? "Hey, Dad. Hey, son. How are you? How come you didn't tell me?" And I was just like, honestly, Dad, like, I'm struggling with my own stuff. I knew Mom would tell you, and I was just so scared. I've been trying to accept myself. The conversation that I had with Mom threw me from having a conversation with you. He's like, "You know, I'm just upset that you didn't tell me because I want you to know that you can tell me anything. I love you, and I will always love you, and I'm happy once you are happy, and Mom and I are happy once all 3 of you guys are happy. Just remember that and just continue to live your truth." So the conversation that I had with my dad was very lovely. Obviously, he was pre-warned about what the news was, and my mom was thrown in the dragon's den, so she had to just react in the moment. But what I heard from my dad was really lovely and reassuring because I kind of felt like I needed that. Did I ever doubt that my parents were going to disown me? No, I didn't. No, I did not. But after that, the conversation with my parents kind of just like energetically was a bit off. The things that we talked about were a little off. So it wasn't the nice feeling because we are such a tight-knit family. And I felt like I lost part of that because of this moment that I had to share. You focused? And that was kind of heartbreaking for me because I love them and I didn't want anything about sexuality to change the way that we communicated. So a couple months later, I remember calling them and just being like, "Hey guys, I want you to listen and I don't want you to say anything. Kyle, George, and I idolize you. We look up to you guys. We think you're the most amazing parents in the world, and we are so happy and feel super privileged to have you guys as parents. Now, we're struggling. We're going through a whole identity crisis and learning about a new way of navigating life, about being confident and comfortable within our skin, and we need you guys. The only 2 people in this world that we need to feel accepted by is you 2. So whatever you're going through, let's talk through it, let's learn from each other, but let's figure it out as a family so we can get back to a place where we were before." Now, did I ever think that we weren't gonna get there? No, but those were some of the feelings that I was feeling in those moments. And having such a strong family dynamic is so important for all of us that we just needed to learn and educate together. It's sad to me that I thought that coming out or like being queer is disappointing for my parents because they've proven that mentality is wrong in so many areas. Like, they are the most supporting, loving parents that I could ever ask for. And I'm super grateful that they're mine. So shout out to them. And if you don't believe me, go check all the comment boxes in every video on YouTube that I've posted, they are there sharing their little support. So I'm so grateful for them and the journey that we've had together. Was it tough? Yes. Did it happen overnight? Absolutely not. Was it hard work? 100%. And we as a family, all my siblings and my mom and dad, we challenge each other, we push each other to learn new things. We're so open about everything that we're experiencing so we can all learn together. I'm also very grateful that my partner at the time did what he did, because obviously that was my path and it helped me to come out a lot earlier. Looking back now, I do wish I came out a lot earlier. And people always ask, how do you identify? And I always say I'm queer. I don't know if I identify with gay. I don't know if I identify with bisexual. I feel like I want to leave openness to connecting with any individual that I meet, and if something happens or a connection is made, then I want to allow that and not live in limitation. I've had a lot of problems in the past with partners and coming out as bisexual when I first meet them, and then later on in the relationship there is always so much like complication or jealousy with them thinking that I was going to run off with the other. It's been quite complicated and I don't know why it's been like that, but it has. For the most part right now, I connect a lot with queer and I'm happy with that. I think we should all be allowed to express ourselves the way we want to express ourselves and love who we want to love with no limitations. Just find yourself on this spectrum, and if you don't, that's okay. You know, life is full of figuring things out and life is long. So the biggest thing I've learned from my journey and from listening to so many people on this channel's journeys is, first of all, you do not need to come out if you do not want to. You could just live your best life and let people find out by seeing your confident, authentic self just shining in this world. But if you do feel like you have to come out or feel like you want to come out, my advice is do it on your own terms, when you're feeling ready, when you're feeling confident, and when you're feeling safe. Just know there's a community out here waiting to embrace you and love you for who you are. Whether that's your family or your friends or your future friends, you will find your space. Love is powerful. It is the one thing we are all connected by. And people may take some time to come around, to adjust, to find comfort. So don't be too hard on yourself if the reaction isn't what you expected. With a little bit of exposure, education, and love, people will come around. I'm telling you. Love is powerful. And remember that there's only one you in this world, and the world needs that. So just be you, okay? Wow, I'm getting a little preachy here. I just want to say a massive thank you for everybody who has watched Quear and who continues to show up every single week and show support and some love. I think it's important for us to make the world a kinder place. Remember, these are all people's stories and these are people's own opinions and things that have happened in their life. So let's all just be one big supportive queer family. All right? Love you guys. Thank you so much again, and I'll catch you next week. Ciao for now.